So we're starting right back at the beginning. So for all you new users out there, sit back, relax, and I recommend that you watch this webinar. Did I say the beginning? That's right. Today is Kits Basics 101. Julia, what are we covering today?
All right, so we're going to be covering managing your catalogs and galleries, creating your projects in kits, also rendering and quick sheets, and lastly, we're going to be organizing your projects. So you'll need to know the basics first before you can close those sales quickly. But before we start, there are a couple of things you have to make sure that you do before using kits. Make sure you're connected to a strong and stable Wi-Fi. So public Wi-Fi's or personal hotspotting won't really cut it when you're syncing to our cloud. However, when you're sending emails to your client through the Kits app, it will work. Also, make sure you set your iPad's auto lock function to never or delay as long as possible during your syncing process to ensure a complete sync of your catalogs. So the features in Kits are in-app processes, so you must remain in Kits while syncing. So Franklin will demo the basics using kits based on an opportunity like we always do for each webinar. Today's opportunity is that the client is renovating their office and they're going to be adding a new executive to the floor, so we'll need to create a private office with guest seating as well. So let's begin the webinar.
Okay, great. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up the Kits app. So if you're new to Kits and this is your first time opening up your app, you will actually proceed right into the catalog subscription screen. However, after that, after the initial open, you will always open up here in the project gallery screen. So let's go ahead and look at the very top, which is what we call the navigation bar. At the very top of the navigation bar, we have our project count. Here you can see that I have 558 projects currently saved on my iPad. Now, right to the project count, we have the notification bar. That notification bar will indicate and will update you with any updates that are currently available for you to sync from our cloud. Okay, and like what Julia had mentioned, all the app processes or features are in-app only, so that whenever you're syncing, you must remain in the app for the sync to complete. Okay. Now, right side of that notification bar, we have the question mark, which leads you to the online tutorial. And if I tap on that, you can see here what it does is it prompts the online tutorial page to open up. There at the bottom, you can choose from any of the available videos to view. All you need to do is select the one you want to view and tap the big play button in the middle. Make sure you have your volume turned up because there is audio. One thing you should also know is that Kits recognizes whenever or wherever you are in the app, bring up that tutorial first. And beside the question mark, we have the sync link, which takes you to catalog subscription screen, which we're going to go ahead and tap on that now. So this is the catalog subscription screen. Anytime you tap on it, Kits will take a few moments to actually sync with the cloud so that it can actually bring up any kind of updates that are available to your account. This is basically where you're going to manage the content that's available to you. Here you can subscribe to any of the manufacturers or planning typicals found on the left-hand side here. And these are the authorized manufacturers and planning typicals that you are authorized to have. You will see a difference between my iPad and yours, and that's because I have full administrative rights to all the accounts that are available in Kits. To select the manufacturer you want to sync is simple. All you have to do is flick flick up and down on the left-hand menu, find the actual manufacturer you want to sync, tap on the radio button of the catalog you wish to sync on the right-hand side, and then all you need to do is tap Sync Now. Now, our sync process is done in two stages. Here we have the data sync in progress, which what it does is it connects to our cloud and it starts to pull down all the text information that's associated to the catalog or typical that you're syncing. What that text information is basically the model numbers as well as any kind of pricing information that's available from that manufacturer or from that planning typical. Then we proceed into the graphic sync in progress stage, where here you can see an item remaining bar counting down as you're syncing the graphics to your iPad. And this is basically where you're going to be syncing all the 3D models and graphics and swatches that are associated to the catalog or the gallery that you're syncing down. All right. Now, once you're in the graphic sync, what you can do is you can go ahead and tap on Projects on the top left corner. That will lead you back into the project gallery screen, and Kits will allow you to continue building your project as the sync progress is running. It's intuitive that way, so that basically if you're actually building a project using the gallery or using the catalog as it's syncing down, Kits will recognize where you are in that catalog, and it'll start to fetch those graphics first. So what we can do is we can go ahead and continue on with creating a project by tapping on the big plus sign. So this is the scene builder. This is where I like to say the magic happens for us. This is basically where you're going to be able to build your layouts for your clients and then be able to create your renderings and share the project from the screen. What you see in the very top, again, is the navigation bar. And at the very top, you see where it says New Project. This is where you can actually create your project name. So as a best practice, I always say, let's start by creating a project name. And here, all I'm going to put is Webinar Demo. Okay, and then you could tap on Return to close that. Again, at the navigation bar, in the very in the top center, we have the project name, which we just entered. To the right side of that, we have the hand gesture. This actually allows you to see the hand gesture ribbon, which you may have open if this is your first time using Kits. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and tap on the hand gesture, and you can see this is the hand gesture ribbon, which shows you all the gesture movies or gestures which you're going to have to learn in order to navigate in the app and build your layouts. So I'm going to leave that on for now, and I'm going to continue on with the session. Again, there's the question mark, which takes you to the online tutorial page. And then beside that, we have the project settings button. And if I tap on that, that takes me into the project settings. And here we have a few options that focus on the very middle of your page. That comes in at a default size at 30 feet by 30 feet. But we have the option here of turning it on or off by tapping on the control switch, or by resizing it by tapping in the grid length or grid width. Next, we have layout aids. Now, these layout aids are here to help you as you're building your project. If you're familiar with Cap Designer or any other spec design tool, you'll know what Snap to and collision prevention is. So basically, Snap to allows you to actually build your layout by bringing one item close to another item, and they'll recognize the points in which they're supposed to attach, and Kits will automatically push them to those points. Collision prevention sounds exactly what it is. What it does is it prevents one item going through another item, preventing that collision. Next, we have list view settings. Here, you can actually display any GSA. If you're working on any GSA projects, all you have to do is make sure you turn that control switch on. And then you also have the option from hiding your items from the Kits Office environment or the KOE catalog. By default, both those options are turned off. If you like to use them, all you need to do is come back into the project settings and turn them on. And then next, if you are connected with a CRM and you do have Salesforce connectivity to your iPad, you will have the option here to select for you to connect to your opportunity. Now lastly, all you need to know about project settings is tapping on the About sign at the bottom. Whenever you call into support, you may need to know what your version number is on your Kits app. Here you can see I am currently running, or the most current update is 2.3.27. Right? So let's go back into the scene builder. So what we have in the scene builder again is in the very middle we have that floor grid, which we were just talking about. And each square you see here in the floor grid equals 1 full square foot. So there's no way of dimensioning or creating any kind of scale, as the scale is created automatically for the Kits environment. But what you can do is you can use the floor grid and the square foot squares here to actually space plan your project. Right? Now, on the right-hand side of the Kits app, we have your camera view buttons. And here we're currently in the 3D view, which you can see that is highlighted. We also have the options of going through different views like plan view. And don't worry about what it looks like. I'll be actually taking you through each camera view as I validate my project. We also have elevation view, list view, which actually will show you an item, a line item list of your actual project. And then we also have the option to unlock, locking and unlocking your camera, and also resetting your view. So what a camera reset does is if I tap on it, it just resets to the default position of the camera. Right? Now on the left-hand side, we have what we call are your action buttons. And the first action button we have is your select button, your add item button, your remove button, duplicate, group, and ungroup. And I'll be actually going through each one to demonstrate how we're going to use those. So your mastery of the basics is vital to how you're going to close those sales quickly. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use national, as this is an existing national client that I'm working with. So let's start the project by first adding a chair by tapping on the Add Item button, which will automatically open up the catalog filter, which will drop down in the submenu. Here you'll have the ability to choose from the planning typicals that you have synced to your iPad, as well as below all the manufacturers that you currently have on your iPad. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tap on the National Office Furniture manufacturer, and then I'm going to go ahead and tap on National Seating. Then I'm going to just keep drilling through the actual catalog, and as you can see at the very top of the submenu on the left-hand side, you can see that it starts to create this navigational hierarchy. This navigational hierarchy is the same hierarchy that's used in 2020 and any other design spec program, as this is a universal navigational hierarchy that's used between all tools. All right, so here I can actually flick down the menu to find the actual collection I want to use. I'm going to go ahead and tap on Davari, and I'm going to go ahead and tap on Armless with contrasting fabrics. And then once I have the model that I want, I'm going to go ahead and double tap on the actual model here, which will allow me to add it to my scene. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag this item to the middle of my floor grid. Now, I always suggest that you drag your items to the middle of the floor grid because that invisible camera is pointed center to the actual floor grid, so that you don't lose any kind of fidelity as you're actually rotating around your image or zooming into it. Okay, so just make sure that whenever you drag any item in, you can actually drag it right onto the floor grid so that you can review it properly. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the gestures at the very top. So the first one is camera rotate. So here all you need to do is place 2 fingers on your screen and move them left or right to rotate the camera around the floor grid. All right, easy enough. So let's go ahead and go on to the next gesture, which is camera pan. Here we just need to place 1 finger on the iPad and then move up, down, left, or right, and that allows you to pan the camera. Next is camera zoom. So this is a very familiar feature. You know, if you have a smartphone or any kind of tablet or iPad, then you can easily relate to this function. All it is pinching in and out with 2 fingers, as in the gesture, to zoom into your item. All right. Now next is item move horizontal. So this allows you to actually edit the item as it's on the floor grid. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I place my finger on the item, and then I'm going to actually move it up, down, left, and right. And you can see that I'm moving the item and not the camera because the floor grid is staying put. Now next gesture is item move vertical. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to need another one of these chairs. So I'm going to go ahead and create a duplicate. And then I'm just going to go into my plan view. Just going to zoom in, and I'm just going to place it in front. So next thing I'm going to do is item move vertical allows you to move an item off the actual floor grid floor. Okay, this is this imaginary floor that's in your screen. The reason why we have this is so that you can actually place items appropriately vertically wherever they need to be placed in your layout. Now the manufacturers have set certain insertion points for some of the furniture items like hutches, which recognize the standard heights the credenzas or work surfaces are supposed to be at. So what those hutches will do is they'll come in at the appropriate height so that they can be placed directly on top of whatever surface you have. That's intuitive, and that's actually created from the manufacturer, created for the actual data set that they provide us. Now, not all items will have those settings. For instance, if you're working with panels, because panels can be built at various heights, most panel systems and the actual panels will appear on the actual floor, so you'll have to raise them to where they'll need to be. So what you need to do is position your 3 fingers, as in the gesture, on the screen and just move them up or down. And you can see here that I've just raised that chair above the other one. As you can see, it is now on top of each other. Also, you can see that I can actually drag the item right into the other one. And that's because, again, remember we talked about the collision prevention. I have that collision prevention off. If it was turned on, then I wouldn't be able to do that. All right, great. So there are our 2 chairs. So let's go ahead and go into the next item, which is item rotate. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on that gesture. And you can see here, this is probably the most trickiest gesture to learn, as you can actually rotate the camera rather than rotate the items. But what you want to do is make sure that you select all the items on your screen, or select the item in which you wish to rotate. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate this one chair by following that gesture. And what I normally do is I place my 2 fingers on the iPad, and I rotate my fingers one way and rotate my iPad the other way to actually get the most rotating movement as possible to rotate my chairs or rotate my items. All right, so let's go ahead and rotate this other chair. And then I'm just going to place it over here. Great. All right, so the next gesture is drag select. So this allows you to select multiple items on your screen. What you'll need to do is you'll need to follow the gesture. And here I'm going to place my left-hand thumb on the select button. I'm going to tap and hold it. As you can see, it's highlighted in gray now. And I'm going to place my right-hand index finger. I'm going to drag it across my 2 chairs, as in the gesture. And you can see I start to create this sort of violet marquee box. Once I let go of it, it then selects anything that's found within that box. And you can see now that I have both chairs selected, and if I were to move them, they move together as one. If I want to group them, all I need to do is tap on Group, and then you can see those blue boxes now turn red. That indicates that those 2 chairs are now part of a grouping. So if I tap anywhere on the screen and now tap on one of the chairs, it will select both chairs. One now has a green box, one has a red box. They still indicate that they're in a group. The only reason why one chair has a green box is because it indicates that that is the current item you're selected on in that grouping. All right. Now to ungroup, all you need to do is make sure that your items are highlighted and then tap on Ungroup below. If you need to remove any items, all you need to do is go ahead and tap on the item you wish to remove and tap on Remove. Okay. Now, if ever you make any kind of mistake, at the very top you have a hoop arrow there, which is your undo button. So you can always go ahead and tap on Undo, and I believe this allows you to undo up to about 25 to 30 times. And then anytime you create an undo or tap on Undo, it creates a redo. Okay. All right, great. Now the last gesture is multi-select. So all you need to do here is basically this time tap on the select button and make sure that you tap on all items you wish to include in that selection. So here I'm going to tap on the other chair, and you can now see that both chairs are highlighted. One thing you got to make sure you do is make sure you turn off the multi-select function, because anytime you tap on any other item, it will also include it in that selection. So again, here you can see that I have my 2 chairs selected. So that's pretty much it for your gestures. These are the basic gestures that you'll need to know in order to build your layouts here in KITS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn off my hand gesture by tapping on the hand gesture symbol so that we now have a full screen. Okay, great. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to apply some finishes to these chairs. So let's go ahead and double tap on the chair. So here we have our chair, and whenever you double tap on an item, it will actually take you into the Edit Item menu. And here in the Edit Item menu, what you have is the graphic of the actual chair. You also have some kind of details indicating. You can go ahead and tap on product details here in the menu, but it will always open up with the options menu open up. Here you can see that there's a list price, and then you have the option to configure price. What you can also do here is you can actually rotate that image in the submenu by placing 2 fingers on the image and then just moving them left or right to rotate the actual image. And the reason why it allows you to do that is so that if you're creating a quick sheet or a cut sheet of the actual item, you can actually position it the way you want to send the quick sheet to your client. All right. So let's go ahead and tap on the first option, which is back upholstery grade. Whenever you deal with any kind of upholstery, you have the option of selecting between any of the fabric grades as well as the fabric colors. This really helps you refine what you're actually looking for based on your client's requirements. So here, if I want to look at some grade 1 fabrics, I can go ahead and tap on grade 1. I can also look at some L7 grade fabrics. I can go ahead and tap on that. If I want to look at only the blues, grays, and reds, I can go ahead and tap those filters as well. If I need to remove any of those filters, I can certainly do so. Here I can take away the L7 grade, and then any of the other filters here I wish to take off. And then you can see at the bottom, all your swatches will always refresh based on the filters you have selected. So I'm going to go ahead and select plush suede here. And then one thing I want to do is I want to make sure I tap on Replace All, because this will actually replace any items that share the same kind of option finish structure. It doesn't have to be necessarily the same chair. It may actually share the same option finish structure that you see here, and it'll apply those finishes to that chair as well. All right. In this case, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be applying the finishes to both chairs. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on Next. And then again, I'm going to go through grade 1. This time I'm going to go with just my reds, and then I'm going to go ahead and tap on red. Okay, and you can see here what it's done is it's applied that red color to the back of the actual chair. Now I'm going to go ahead and tap on Next, and again, go back to grade 1. This time I'm going to go ahead and tap on black, and then we're going to go with teak. Tap on Next, and we're at a final selection, which is the wood finish, and I'm going to go ahead and tap on Sable. Tap on Done. All right, great. You can now see that the finishes have been applied to both chairs, and I can actually zoom right into them, and you can really see how cool that graphic really looks. All right. Now, one thing that you can do is, based on the item that you're finishing here, you can actually double tap on that. You can actually tap on Quick Sheet in the left-hand side of the Edit Item menu, and here this will allow you to send a cut sheet or quick sheet of the actual item you wish to send to your client. All right. So it'll give you options here to choose if you want to show them the model number, option finishes, product details, any kind of pricing. Here you can apply a global discount to it, and then you can also include any notes by turning that control switch on. Now you need to tap on the empty box below notes, where you can enter any note you wish to. Once that's done, all you need to do is tap on the keyboard icon at the bottom right of your keyboard to close. And you can see on the right-hand side is the PDF that Kits will generate of the cut sheet. There's my note saying that I am a chair. I can certainly send this to my client, and this is where you'll need to have some kind of connectivity, especially if you're at your client's site. Your personal hotspotting will be okay to send these estimations. However, you won't be able to sync any kind of catalogs with that. All right. This is the generic email that is created. Here you can actually add additional comments, and then there's the PDF sheet of the cut sheet that's created. All right, so just go ahead and select this recipient you want to send it to, and then tap on Send. All right, great. So we now covered having to add items to the scene or to the layout. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and add a typical by first tapping on Add Item again. This time I'm going to go ahead and tap Reset All in the Add Item menu so that it can actually bring me to the very beginning of the Add Item menu. Again, I'm going to go ahead and select what I want to add to my layout. Here I'm going to add a planning typical. And this time I'm going to go ahead and search for the typical. It's going to be a national one, so I'm going to go ahead and tap on National HQ. And you can see every time you tap on an option, it'll actually drill down into giving you various categories or options for you to choose from. Here I have 4 options or 4 categories: collaborate, learn, interact, and focus. This project is about a new executive being added to the floor, so we need to add a private office. So let's go ahead and tap on focus. And then I can certainly search for that using the submenu on the left-hand side, or you can see on the right-hand side, you can see in the thumbnails on the right-hand side, anytime you drill into a category, it will refresh the thumbnails accordingly for you to preview. So if I tap anywhere on the thumbnails, I can actually now look at the thumbnails for the item I'm looking for. Furthermore, as you're actually going through this, if you do see an item you like, you can actually tap on it, and that will take you into a full screen preview mode. And here you have some details like the typical number, as well as some little details indicating the type of typical that you're looking at, as well as the option to tapping on details at the right hand, just above the list pricing of the configured price. I can tap on details, and you can see here that it has some kind of product detail notes for me to look at. I can see that the footprint is 5 by 10, which roughly takes a 50 square foot space. If I want to view more of National's private office solutions, I can go ahead and tap on that hyperlink, and that will lead me to National Office's website. All right, great. I can actually flick left and right to preview more typicals as well. If I tap on the image one more time, it actually leads me into a presentation mode. Here what it does is it clears all the actual clutter of the details away so that now you're just looking at nice images with your client. And if you find the one that you like, all you need to do is tap on the image one more time and then tap on Add to Project. Here we have the typical. There you can see I have some information about it, and just like the chair, all I need to do is place my finger on that typical to drag it into my scene. All right? So there it is. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that, since I have some project requirements here, I want to make sure that my floor grid size indicates the actual space that we're working with. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on my project settings. And then in the grid length, I'm going to change that to 15 and 15. Now, the typical indicated that it needs roughly a 12-foot by 12-foot space. So having the 15 feet by 15-foot space or floor grid space will be enough to accommodate this layout. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that by tapping on Return. And then I'm going to go back to my floor grid. And you can now see that the floor grid size has now changed according to the new sizes I've just indicated. All right. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to rotate this typical, and then I'm going to go into Plan View, and I'm just going to adjust it according to the floor grid that I have placed here now. Don't worry about the other items being in its way. We're going to go ahead and fix that. So now I'm going to tap on 3D View. You can see there that the chairs are actually all in that typical. What I need to do at this moment is tap on the Select button. First, I want to just unselect all my items. I'm going to tap on those chairs so that I can move them out of the way. And I'm just going to quickly rotate them. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and tap on the typical once more. And this time I'm going to tap on Ungroup. So here you can see that I've now ungrouped the typical so that I can select each item I need to, or I can go ahead and eliminate anything I need to from this typical, which I'm going to go ahead and do so now. So here we're going to go ahead and select the wallboard on the side here. I don't need that, so we're going to go ahead and remove it. I'm also going to remove the guest chair that was added to this typical. And actually the pedestal bottom here, we're going to remove that. And we're going to replace that with the other one that's already in here. All right. Now I'm just going to quickly go into Plan View. And now I'm just going to place this under the work surface. And there we go. And let's go back to 3D view. All right, great. So now that my typical is completed, this is basically what the client is looking for. I'm going to go ahead and double tap on one of the items here. And then I'm going to go ahead and specify its finishes. So I'm going to tap on the first option. And then this time I'm going to make sure I tap on Replace All. Because we have a lot of like finishes, because this is an entire desk series here, or desk collection, I want to make sure I tap on Replace All so that all the finishes are unified, and anytime I make change to one, it makes a change to all those other items there. So here we're going to make sure that we pick our pull. I'm just going to go with a metallic. Tap on Next. Let's say no grommet. And then we're just going to go with a random core. And we're going to go with satin nickel. And finally, we're going to go with sable, as that was the original wood finish that I picked for the chairs. Now I'm going to go ahead and tap on Done. And you can see how quickly it's added that finish to all the other items. All right. Now, if I just wanted to change, let's say I just wanted to change the color for the item I'm selected on, for instance, like this work surface here, I can certainly do so. You can see that I tapped on it, and you can see that there are certain finishes that haven't been selected because those are unique to that particular item. So you may have to go through each item respectively to make sure that each finish is selected. So here we're just going to go and we're going to choose some options. If you're creating your own project, again, you guys are the designers, so you can go ahead and choose anything that you want to place for your project. Okay, so now we're down to the finish here. If I wanted to select any other other finish, I can go ahead and do so. Tap on Done, and you can see what that looks like. Right? So I'm just going to go ahead and finish off some of these other items. For instance, this overhead here. Let's pick a resin grade frosted. Track color nickel. And then we're going to go ahead and tap Next and tap on Done. And then we can go ahead and change these trays, which is nickel metal. This time I'm going to tap on Replace All and tap on Done to finish that off. So you can see here my layout is now completed with its finishes. However, I still need to add some finishes to my task chair, so we're going to go ahead and double tap on that. Tap on Upholstery Grade. Here we can choose between all our different grades again. This time I'm going to go with a grade 7. And we're going to go with a gray. And I'm going to go ahead and pick Brisa Ash. Okay, tap on Next. And then tap on Satin Nickel is already selected, and tap on Caster. Here we're going to go with Hard. If ever you need to reset your option for some reason, all you can do is you tap on the Reset button, and that resets your option finish back to the beginning. Again, you'll just have to indicate a finish for it. All right, great. So our scene is nearly complete. I'm going to go back into Plan View. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my finger on this chair. And then I'm just going to slightly rotate it. And then we're going to bring this one, and we are also going to rotate. And as you can see here, as I bring the chair closer to the other one, it will snap to the corner of the other chair, and that is the snap to points that I mentioned in the very beginning. Right? Let's go to 3D view, and voila, our scene looks pretty good. I can actually go into my elevation view to make sure that everything is set appropriately. This is just a great way for you to validate your project, to make sure that you have everything selected, as well as going into your list view. And you can see I can actually go through the list view to select my items and finish off some of the spec here. So for instance, here I have a question mark on the tack board because I haven't selected finish. I can go ahead and double tap anywhere in this box, and that'll allow me to go into the edit menu to change the option finish structure for this particular piece here. Tap on done. And then I can go ahead and find everything else that I need to finish off to make sure that I have all my selected finishes. Again, not every manufacturer will have the same set of option finish structure, so based on whoever you're using, just make sure that you select all the finishes that you want, as it'll indicate the configured price that you want to send to your client. Looks like we've covered all the specification for the actual project. So now if I go into 3D view, again, there's my project. It's within that 15-foot by 15-foot space which I've indicated. Here I can go ahead and position the actual layout I want, position the actual angle I want to render this project in. And whenever you're actually going to render, what I suggest you do is find a position which best represents what your client is really looking for in terms of the layout, so that they can actually see the layout the way they want to see it. In this case, I'm showing it on the guest side so that we can see what it looks like when guests visit the actual executive here. All right. Other thing you want to do is make sure that you use the full screen, so you would zoom in as best as you can to make sure you zoom in your layout to be full frame. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and tap on HD Render. And here you have the option between choosing a good rendering, a better rendering, and a best rendering, also with also producing a line drawing. Now, whenever you're client-facing, we recommend that you select the first option, which is good quality fast, because that will be the fastest rendering method, which normally takes anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on that. And what this will do is it'll produce a rendering with some lighting and with some shading, giving you a nice HD image that's somewhat photorealistic for your client to preview. When the image is finished, what you want to do is tap on Export. You can email a copy to your client. If I tap on Email, what it'll do is it'll generate another email template. Here you can add your comments again by tapping into the box. And then there's the actual image that you can send to your client. What I always suggest that you do is export it to your photo library so that you can use this rendering anytime you wish to later on if you need to. Okay. Let's go back. And if I tap on HD Render and I tap on View Previous Renderings, you can see here that the project will also record and keep a history of any renderings that you create of the layout. All right. Now, the other thing I like doing is I like positioning the layout in somewhat of a plan view. Let's center it. And then go into line drawing to actually give the client a nice bird's eye view of the actual planned layout. All right, here we can actually say that's at the photo library as well, and then we can go back. All right, great. So we have the actual project. What we want to do now is we want to communicate the project to our client by tapping on the share icon, which is the square with the arrow at the top left beside projects. And then we're going to go ahead and create a quick sheet. Here it's going to prompt for you to save, so I'm going to go ahead and tap on Save. And again, just like the quick sheet for the item, this time you get a project quick sheet, which actually shows or which illustrates the entire layout of the project that you just created. It also provides you a nice graphic in the middle, but what you can do here is you can go through the options. First, we can actually change the project name. It doesn't change the project name of the saved project. It just changes the name on the quick sheet. So I'm just going to say this is the KISP office. And then I'm going to tap on Return. Next, I'm going to tap on Visuals for HD rendering. And I can choose one of the renderings that I've created. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and choose the nice rendering in color with the nice lighting and shading in the image. Next, we get into pricing. So this is where you can actually do bulk pricing, basically global pricing on the entire project. If I were to select that, I can go ahead and turn on that switch. Here I can indicate the pricing method, which is list less. I'm going to add 45%. And then I'm going to go ahead and add one more custom cell line item, which can be shipping and handling. Here I'm just going to create a tag for it. And then I'm going to indicate the cost of that. Okay, and you can see all my changes are actually making change on the PDF on the right-hand side. So I'm just going to zoom in here. So you can see that the total list price is around 20 or close to 25,000 with a less discount at 45%, giving me a subtotal, adding the shipping and handling, and now giving me the total sell price of the actual project. All right. Now again, this is global discounting based on the entire project. As I mentioned before, we will get into a more configured price method at next week's webinar session. If I need to add any more notes, I can go ahead and tap on that control switch to add a note. Here, I'm just going to say I am in estimation. And then I'm going to continue on to the last set of options, which are my item details here. So if I flick up on the PDF on the right-hand side, you can see that I can go through a parts list or the line item list of the actual project. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that I can protect this bit. So what I can do is I can take off any kind of discounting if there was discounting added to the items. I could also take off any kind of thumbnails. I can even take off the option finishes. And what I have left for the client to see is basically just the model numbers and the actual pricing, however I left the pricing, if I did configured pricing or bulk pricing at the beginning. If I want to just take off all item details, I can certainly do so by turning off that control switch. And all I'm sending the client is this one configured project configured PDF. Okay. Once I'm satisfied with that, I can go ahead and print it by tapping on Print. You need to be connected to an air printer, or you can tap on Send. And again, here's the generic email it produces. There's the PDF. I can add any comments. All I need to do is add on a recipient and then tap on Send. Right? So once that's done, I can actually go into my projects now. There's the project on the top left corner. Here I can actually manage my projects in the project gallery screen. What I can do is I can actually duplicate, I can erase, or I can create folders. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and create a duplicate by tapping and holding the project. As you can see, it now highlights it. Once I let go, it starts to do a jig and highlights the actual project. I can tap on the copy button to create a duplicate. And you can see now left of it is a copy, as it says Webinar and Devo Copy 2. Here I'm going to actually create a folder by tapping on one of the projects and now holding it and dragging it on top of another project and letting go. That now creates a folder. I can change the folder name. And I'm just going to call this Webinar Wednesdays. And then tap on the keyboard icon on the bottom right to close. All right, so there's my folder. If I wish to delete a project, all I need to do is tap and hold that project and tap on the delete button. All right, now to get out of the folder, all I need to do is tap on the lighter gray that surrounds the actual folder, and it leads me back into the project gallery screen. The project gallery screen is also organized by the most recently saved. As you can see, below each folder or below each project is a date timestamp, which is associated to the project when the project is saved. Here I can actually do a few more things. I can actually tap on the project name, and here I can make any changes to that project name. Okay, and you can see once I made that change, it now moved that project ahead of my folder because, again, right now all my projects are organized by the most recently saved. I can also actually reorganize my project alphanumerically by tapping on name. And again, what it does is it resets my my project gallery screen for me to view all my projects alphanumerically. If I need to search for a project, all I need to do is tap in the search box. Here, it's not like a Google search. You actually have to phrase your search exactly how the project is named. Put webinar. And you can see it's bringing up all the different projects that have or that contain the word webinar in it. I'm looking for the webinar Wednesday. You can see it's on the right-hand side. If I'm looking for, let's say I want to be a little bit more specific, what I can do is if I'm looking for webinar demo and I put demo in front of webinar and tap on search, you can see here that it won't find anything because that's not currently how any of my projects are named. So remember, your projects have to be phrased exactly as it is. Tap on search, and it will now filter down to all the projects that are actually named webinar demo. You can see I have quite a few of them. Again, you could tap in the folder that you wish to look at, and then you could tap on the project whichever one you wish to open. And that's pretty much it, everyone. You now know the basics. So start practicing your new skills and start closing those sales. And in no time, you'll definitely advance to becoming that supercharged power user.